Hi everyone, Dr. Ty and Dr. Sean here again, and this is the shoulder module, okay? So if you've been given this video, it means we're just having trouble getting that shoulder to hold where it needs to be, that we're still having pain and still having some dysfunction. So before we go to the next level and go to maybe some physical therapy, we're gonna see if this can help out and get us headed in the right direction, okay? So the first things first, why are shoulders bothering us so much? Man, I can't tell you, about 90% of the time it's my desk workers, my desk jockeys that are sitting at their place, and it's the right hand because that mouse, okay? So the right hand is on the mouse all the time. That brings this shoulder forward. What the anatomy of the shoulder looks like is it's called a ball and socket, but really it's not like the hip, which is a true ball and socket where there's a connection like this. The socket in the shoulder is wide open, okay? So it's completely dependent on all the muscle balance around there. And there's 4 muscles that really hold that shoulder into place mainly, okay? So when this socket is right here, it's great. Everything is hunky-dory and everyone's happy. Unfortunately, as time goes on, as we've trained this shoulder to be forward, now we have a problem, okay? Because the joint space, the joint complex has a lot of nerve endings on the outside of it, and when we start to pinch those, that's what hurts. And typically what you'll see is the pain pattern that goes down the shoulder like this when it's an anterior shoulder. Now there's a lot of different shoulder injuries and different things that can happen. There's torn labrums, there's biceps tendonitis, there's different tendinitises in there. All right, so the ultimate goal is we want to make sure that that shoulder socket is in the middle, not over here. So that means we got to address some of the major issues that happen when we we're working on our computer, or if we're slouching. You know, that's a big one. It rolls these shoulders forward. Well, the pecs are one of the strongest muscles in the shoulder complex, and they get shorter, and so it holds it forward. And a lot of times, just going through the day, you don't feel it, but as soon as you go to reach for something, bam, it really cramps in on that front side of the socket. So here's some things that we can do to keep that shoulder as close to the center as we possibly can. The first one is a real easy stretch. You get in a doorway, and there's different positions you can be in, but I like the higher position seems to be a little more stretchy for me. And so what I'll do is I'm trying to get these muscles and these pectoralis muscles to stretch and get longer. Again, now we're trying to elongate again. Before workouts, stretching should be 10 to 15 seconds max. When we're trying to do a therapeutic stretch to elongate those tissues and those muscle structures, now we're looking at pushing upwards of 45 seconds, okay? So I'm gonna hold this position where my elbows are about shoulder height, and I'm just gonna lean into this, and I'm gonna hold this for 45 seconds, okay? And then I can breathe through it. If it feels like, okay, now it's not stretching as much, I can. And you want a decent stretch, but not a stretch enough to where you're kind of pushing back against. That can be very easily. I can stretch really hard and I can feel my muscles, they're fighting that stretch. No, we don't want that. We want to relax in there to get the ultimate range of motion out of it and elongation, okay? You can do that also unilaterally. If we have a wall here instead and not a doorway, we can turn our body and do this, we can do this, we can go low, and we can hit it in those 3 different areas and move it around. Just listen to your body, feel where it stretches most, okay? The next thing that we wanna do is we wanna strengthen as well. Okay, so strengthening the back sides of the muscles, real easy, and you can start off if we have some acute shoulder problems. Don't do any weight, but we want to do what's called a bent row. We're here and we're pretending we have weights, or if we are strong enough, we can have weights, 2, 3, 5 pounds. We're going to squeeze our shoulder blades together and bring this back. Do a little squeeze at the top and then bring it back. Nice, smooth, even squeezing, okay? And we're trying to really focus on keeping our arms, keeping our shoulders nice and tight, making sure our shoulder blades are pressing together, things like that. Another one is just taking a can of soup or something like that and elbow at 90 degrees, shoulder at 90 degrees, and we're gonna do an external rotation, okay? A weight 2 to 5 pounds something, or a band. Bands are great. So if you have bands, those are fantastic. External rotation, doing like 10 to 20 repetitions, okay? You can switch that around, tie it to the door knob, and do internal rotation here. And notice my humerus, my arm, is rotating straight down like this. I'm not trying to do this, it's just right here. And I like to lock in my elbow like this. Same thing here, it's just rotating perfectly around. I'm not doing this or anything else. Bands, you can do internal rotation as well this way. Okay, so bands are really, really good for this. Lightweight bands, you don't need a lot. You can get them on Amazon even. Do them on both sides. You can test the strength, and again, that's where balance comes in, okay? So those would be a couple, a stretch in the door to elongate, a couple exercises. Dr. Sean's gonna go over a couple other stretches and a couple other activities that you can do to help relax that shoulder as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So what I would add to that is there's an exercise that actually helps all the little connections inside the shoulder joint itself. And what you do is you can grab any household item, like I got this cleaner right here, the classic example is a can of soup, and you kind of bend over and you just let your arm hang, right? You're not trying to hold it in, you let it hang. Okay, it might seem counterintuitive, but what we're talking about slipping forward, but it actually strengthens all those little connections. And you just gently move from the shoulder in a circular fashion, just like this, okay? And you just do this 10 to 20 reps, okay, as long as it feels okay, right, guys? And then you go the other way too, okay?
One thing I'll add to this, I like to use a counter, so I can support my weight here. And then the other thing too is you want to try and use as little muscle to move it. What I found is most effective is when I just let it hang, and then I use my body to swing that around.
Gorilla style.
Yeah, and so what that does, and again, it just helps, like Doc was saying, helps to incorporate all of those tissues around there, and it affects them, activates them.
The other stretch that I seem to show a lot of patients as well is for the deltoid itself. This oftentimes it's really, really tight. It's a real simple stretch. You just bring, say this one's the tight one, you just bring it across your chest, bring this other arm, okay? And you're bringing your elbow towards you, okay? And you should feel a stretch right away. If for some reason you don't, you can just kind of lean, you're bringing your arm over a little bit more and lean towards your shoulder, and you get a nice stretch there. And again, we want to hold that up to 30, 45 seconds, right, to elongate those fibers.
Excellent. Well, I think that's a really good base of what you need to just get the shoulder activated and stretched and relaxed, and with some strengthening exercises. Let's start there. If that doesn't work, if we're not making any progress, then it's probably going to be time that we need to move into some physical therapy, okay? So put the time into these stretches and exercises to see if we can get things headed in the right direction. And if we can avoid yet another appointment to get to at a physical therapist, then great. If we can't, then that's why we love physical therapy so much, is because they're phenomenal with shoulders and with everything. We love physical therapy as well. That couples with what we do so much. So yeah, so that's our shoulder module. So if you have any questions, feel free again to make sure you talk to us about these things so that we can help you the best way we can. Okay, so Dr. Sean, Dr. Ty signing off. Be blessed and be a blessing.